AN.
Troops of Operation Lafia Dole arrest wanted Boko Haram suspect at an IDP camp in Borno.
APC National Working Committee lifts suspension of Senator Shehu Sani.
Federal government to pay more attention to renewable energy sources in solving the power problem in the country.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we examine the N-Power and its impact on poverty alleviation and job creation.
One of the priorities of the Buhari administration is job creation and poverty eradication. Now, the administration has since coming to power rolled out several initiatives to achieve this goal.
Indeed, Joy, now you'll also recall that the government came out with various social investment programs, which include the school feeding program, conditional cash transfer, government enterprise empowerment program, and the N-Power.
Now, the N-Power component seeks to address the challenge of youth unemployment by providing those with relevant work skills the opportunity to acquire experience and contribute to national development.
Of course, the program is intervening in the public sector and stimulating the larger economy as the volunteers are being engaged for N-Agro, that's the agricultural component, and tax, which is designed to support the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and health for the health sector, and N-Teach for education, among others.
Of course, Kingsley, there is the N-Power software and N-Power hardware, which are targeted at leveraging on the information technology potentials of the youth, who are known to have significant talent and potentials.
Now, this morning, we shall examine the successes and challenges of the various programs, in particular the N-Power program, and highlights its contribution to poverty eradication and job creation, as we engage some of the beneficiaries and administrators of the program. It's on that note we'd like to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. It's a wet morning here in Abuja, Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. My name is Kingsley Osadolo.
And I am Joy Usiago. Good to have you join us on Good Morning Nigeria, broadcast live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. As always, the complimentary part of the program shall be brought to you, including newspaper review, business, sports, foreign and entertainment news. The morning news is right now with Joseph Johnson. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Joy. Good morning and thanks for joining us. Troops of Operation Lafia Dole have arrested a wanted Boko Haram suspect, Maji Lawan, at Banking in Borno State. In a statement issued by Director Army Public Relations Brigadier General Texas Chukwu says the suspect, believed to be number 96 on the wanted list earlier published by the Army, was apprehended after he infiltrated into the internally displaced persons camp in the area. The suspect, according to the statement, is currently undergoing preliminary investigation and will be handed over to the appropriate authority for further actions. Similarly, troops deployed in Operation Royal Stroke in Guma local government area of Benue State have encountered armed militiamen with large heads of cattle while on clearance operation along Bajimba Akko axis of the state. A statement by Brigadier General Texas Chukwu, Director Army Public Relations, says the troops dislodged the armed militiamen from their camp following superior firepower, while others escaped into nearby bushes with gunshot wounds. Items recovered include one AK-47 rifle, two AK-47 rifle magazines, 60 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition and 5 motorcycles. However, efforts are on to get other fleeing members of the armed militiamen by the troops. The top management of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, rising from a retreating caliber, has pledged the commitment of the government towards ensuring that renewable energy sources in hydro, wind and solar are explored for sustainable contribution to energy mix diversification in the country.
Government had directed on the need to ensure that the Bureau of Public Enterprises should be there, and the Nigerian bulk electricity traders, NBET, adhere to the terms of contract agreement and performance bond so as to minimize technical and commercial losses, thereby increasing performance of the Nigerian electricity supply industry.
In a quest for supporting the lives of women and children in Nigeria and the Gambia, wife of the President Aisha Muhammadu Buhari hosted her counterpart, the First Lady of Gambia, Fatoumata Barrow. Both visited the Maitama District General Hospital in commemoration of the birthday of the Gambian First Lady.
Actually, she visited Nigeria to see the Gambian students that are schooling in Rochas Foundation in Imo, and it coincided with her birthday, so we decided to spend it, to wish her a happy birthday in a small way by visiting the patients in a government hospital.
Alhamdulillah, I'm thanking God for everything, for adding another year on my life, celebrating it in Nigeria in a different way. Thank you very well.
The national leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has lifted the suspension placed on Senator Shehu Sani, representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District of Kaduna State. A statement by the acting National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Yakini Nabene, indicates that the National Secretary of the party has lifted the suspension and confirmed that the distinguished Senator Sani Shehu is a bona fide member and leader of the party. The party therefore directed the chairman of the APC in Tudun Ward and others to implement the directive with a view to complementing the peace efforts being made by the national leadership of the party to bring back peace in the party in Kaduna State. And Gombe State Governor and former Accountant General of the Federation, Ibrahim Dankwambo, has declared his aspiration to contest for president come 2019. These has put to rest some speculations about his intentions to join the race in the forthcoming presidential elections. Governor Dankwambo made the declaration in Gombe at a consultative meeting with delegates from the Northeast, asking for support of members.
We have been making a lot of consultations. We felt this time around our zone, the great zone of this country, the Northeast, should be given opportunity to conduct and run the affairs of this country.
And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Joy and Kinsley after the break. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria this Monday morning. Access to credit facilities and lack of information have been described as factors slowing down the growth of micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. Now, how can this be reversed? Let's join Chimobi Walter Nnaji for more on business news.
Welcome to the Business News segment. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Now, the place of micro, small and medium enterprises in the development of any society cannot be overemphasized. However, this very important sector of the economy still faces myriads of challenges despite federal government's intervention programs for this set of people through grants and skill acquisition trainings. Now, how can the potentials embedded in this critical sector be harnessed? A trade expert, Oba Boniface, says improved government policies are key to the desired change in the sector. According to him, a vibrant SME sector in Nigeria will address the issues of unemployment and youth restiveness.
The first thing is that our policies should be organic. Most time we have policies that are not organic. You find government just looking at other countries' developed economy and just copying and expecting the same policies to work. So we need to have policies that are organic. And when you have organic policies, the people input, the entrepreneurs, the social entrepreneurs, and you have them putting their own ideas. This will ensure that everybody will be involved.
Other respondents also believe that training, research and favorable tax policies can positively affect the sector for optimum performance.
In terms of accessibility to financial assistance, financial aid, government policies and so on have actually locked up these opportunities. That people, the whole attention is not on this side. Rather, the whole attention is let me get contract, the whole attention is let me get employed, and so on and so forth.
They are more interested in just talking about funding. We want to see what happens to the funding when it is gotten, and how we can actually expand the horizon for people to benefit from more funding. No doubt, government has limited funds too. And the only way to run is to ensure that every business runs sustainably.
Meanwhile, Africa's retail banking revenue has been estimated to grow to $53 billion by year 2020. The figure represents 41% of the total banking revenue in the region in the next 4 years. According to the 2018 African Banking Report recently released by McKinsey, the expected growth in revenue will come from South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Morocco, Ghana and Kenya. McKinsey in its report noted that Africa's banking markets are among the most exciting in the world, as the continent's overall banking is the second fastest growing and second most profitable of any global region. Africa's banking revenue posed to grow at 8.5% a year between 2017 and 2022, bringing the continent's total banking revenue to $129 billion. And that's the business news. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Many thanks for watching.
Thank you very much, Chimo. Will be there for the business package. Next for us now, we'll take a look at the stories in some of today's newspapers in our review segment.
Let's go straight into the newspaper review. We'll start with the Daily Trust. The lead story there says, pressure mounts on Saraki to reconvene National Assembly. And above the lead story, we have a couple of stories making the rounds there. Kano Deputy Governor resigns Ganduje shops for replacement. You can find details of that story on page 13. And 9 core members drown in Taraba. Details on page 4. Kingsley?
All right, let's take a look at the Daily Sun newspaper. Virtually all of it is politics, with the exception of the human interest story. Unfortunately, we're reporting the death of 9 core members who drowned in Taraba in the course of a picnic. That story is on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. But the photograph on the front page of the Daily Sun newspaper is also on the front page, I believe, of Daily Trust. You have that, yes. Joy, and it's also the photograph on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. It shows President Muhammadu Buhari welcoming the Senate Minority Leader Godswill Akpabio, who visited him in London yesterday. They see the president, who is on vacation, 10-day vacation, receiving or welcoming Godswill Akpabio, former governor of Akwa Ibom State. There, of course, there are still speculations as to what is happening to what is likely to happen this week. He is of the People's Democratic Party.
And it is believed that he's moving over to the APC.
To the APC. He was a two-term governor of Akwa Ibom on the platform of the PDP, and he's currently the minority leader in the Senate of the PDP. So speculations are rife that, of course, he will be ditching the PDP and going over to the APC. So the political market for defection is still booming.
And it's interesting, you know, Kingsley, considering that 2019 is just around the corner.
Absolutely so, absolutely so. So there are a lot of stories that we'll continue to read. But let's take a look at the earpiece beside the nameplate of the Daily Sun newspaper. The earpiece says, how APC senators plan to unseat Saraki, and this is attributed to the reformed APC. With two riders, NNPC denies funding impeachment plot, as Ita Enang, who is the senior special assistant to the president on the National Assembly matters with regard to the Senate, is pleading for the reconvening of the National Assembly. It's still blackmail, that's according to APC. And by the way, the Senate is on vacation from plenary, and they're not resuming until the 6th of September. Now, the lead story for the Daily Sun says, onslaught against Boko Haram, that's the kicker. Army nabbs dreaded terrorist in IDP camp, kills scores of militiamen in Benue. And the story, of course, that we just discussed a moment ago, Akpabio meets Buhari in London, anxiety in Akwa Ibom over senator's defection rumor. Now, 2019, that's the kicker. We deserve better Nigeria. Former head of state, President Olusegun Obasanjo, details on page 12. And lastly, from the foot of the front page of the Daily Sun, Kano deputy governor resigns, alleges unjust treatment. That's on page 44.
All right, let's go to the Punch newspaper now. The lead story there says, Kaduna APC defies Oshomole over Sani. Kano deputy governor resigns, and it comes with a couple of riders. Defection, Akpabio meets Buhari in London. Our APC reps group alleged plot to bribe lawmakers to remove Saraki Dogara. You can get details of the stories from pages 2, 10, and 14. And then if you go a little bit down beside the picture story, we have some other stories there. Igbo interested in restructuring, not presidency. And that comment is attributed to Ohaneze. Details of that story, head up to page 16 for more. Truck kills 13 on Akwanga Abuja highway, and housewife stabs husband to death over telephone call. And then above the nameplate, tragedy as 9 youth corps members drowned in Taraba River, and that is common with most of the papers, as you heard Kingsley earlier on. And then, nothing will make me abandon clamor for better Nigeria. That comment is attributed to Obasanjo, and you can get details of the story on page 14.
That's right. Just before we continue with the other stories, the death of the 9 corps members in Taraba, most unfortunate. Yes. The incident is said to have taken place somewhere at the River Mayo Selby, and that is in Gashaka local government area. An incident occurred on Saturday. Yes. The corps members, 20 of them were said to have gone on a picnic. Well, there are conflicting accounts. Some said that the corps members were swimming, and then suddenly the waters of the river got swollen on account from flooding from nearby tributaries that were raining somewhere else. But 7 of the bodies of the 9 corps members have been recovered. You know, 2 others, as at the time they were reporting, writing the stories, had not been recovered.
Now, is it safe to let that number of corps members go out for a picnic at this time of the year, considering the situation with the rainy season?
Well, these are adults in the first instance. And obviously, if it was raining in their particular location, then it wouldn't be a picnic. A picnic is supposed to be an outdoor event that you are enjoying. But the other account also indicated that the 9 COP members who drowned were not swimming, that they were on the river bank when suddenly, the river burst its banks and then apparently, swept the 9 COP members away. It's most unfortunate. I mean, what was supposed to be a fun time, has now turned into a tragedy. Our hearts actually go out to the families and the colleagues of these COP members. And very significantly, the names of the COP members have not been released. And I think that's very important until their next of kin have been informed. And thereafter, the next steps will be taken. The incident took place once again in Gashaka local government area of Taraba State. I'm not sure what the geography is and therefore what the distance is from that particular point to the capital of Taraba State. Now let's return to politics. Nigerian Tribune, the lead story again is still on the APC and the Senate, and virtually again the front page is full of politics. Now, why APC can't demand Saraki's resignation? That's according to Femi Falana. Our APC raises alarm over plans to forcefully unseat Saraki. 9 state ESCO members dump Osun APC. Kano deputy governor resigns. And then the second lead story there says, presidency begs Saraki and Dogara to reconvene National Assembly. Forceful takeover of assembly will harm democracy, PDP warns. Saraki frustrated government projects, budgets, and appointments. That's according to Information Minister Lai Mohammed. Legislators loyal to the president should educate Lai on how National Assembly functions. That's according to Saraki's aide. Details of that story can be found on page 3. And also there on the front page, you have the story there. Ozobolo, community holds memorial mass for 13 slain worshippers today. That's on page 8. And Southwest farmers in suspense as Nisral holds disbursed CBN loan and fear losing or missing out on planting season.
All right, for more stories from the Daily Trust, at the foot of the front page, Borno candidate emerges UTME top scorer and troops kill 20 bandits, kidnappers in Zamfara. Then the last one there says, we broke the monopoly in pay TV and crash prices.
That's right. Just the story I read a moment ago, Joe, I don't think you have it on the front page of any of the papers that you have, and that has to do with the memorial service that is taking place later today. Ozobulu, last year, on the 6th of August, there was a horrific incident where some gunmen, stormed the Catholic Church and shot indiscriminately at the worshippers. 13 of the worshippers unfortunately lost their lives. It was said to have been a fallout of some gang warfare, involving some Nigerians who were based in South Africa. So a memorial service is being held for them today, and we join the community, of course, in praying for the repose of the souls of the deceased. And we do hope that the investigation and prosecution of persons who were alleged to have been involved in that incident, that those matters are still going on, because there have been very little reports lately in the media with regard to what happened after the fact of the bloody massacre at Ozobulu. Yes,
we hope they will do that, because that will also bring closure for families of those involved.
The resignation of the Kano deputy governor is a story, if you recall, Joy, last week, yes, Hafiz Abubakar, last week there were all kinds of indications that all wasn't well with the deputy governor. Yes, and well, of course, their relationship. Now he has tendered his letter of resignation, saying that on account of irreconcilable differences and disrespect for his office and so on and so forth, he's leaving. Of course, this is also a fallout of the defection of Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, the former governor of Kano, who's now moved from APC to PDP. Hafiz Abubakar, the immediate past deputy governor, is said to belong to the Kwankwaso camp. So these are the aftershocks, if you like, of the defections of the polity.
And this probably has to also do with party ideology. Apparently, he's sticking to what he believes in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, 2 deputy governors have resigned in recent months. We had a Bauchi deputy governor who also resigned and immediately now followed by Kano. And of course, there are battles still arising from Kaduna, where Senator Shehu Sani, as we indicated in our bulletin, the National Working Committee has lifted the suspension order, but you read a story there saying that, the local APC, that is at the ward level, senatorial level, and the state level, are saying that, look, they will not hack into what the National Working Committee has done. It has, of course, some ongoing spat with the Kaduna State Governor, and we do hope that they reconcile themselves. All right, let's take our editorial this morning, and it's coming from the Authority newspaper, and it's at page 8. It's continued killing and kidnapping on Abuja Kaduna Highway, and the editorial opens by saying that traveling on the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway has continued to be nightmarish for commuters that apply the roads. And it says that the only period in recent time that appeared like some sanity had come from the menacing activities of criminals was experienced when the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport underwent structural renovations, and all flights to the Abuja Airport were diverted to Kaduna Airport. The editorial concludes that if it requires declaring a near state of emergency in that part of the country experiencing such level of insecurity, Nigerians will have no qualms about it.
And you know, that has sent a lot of fears into so many Nigerians now. So most prefer to go by rail to Kaduna, and we hope that the authorities will do something quickly to solve this problem.
And unfortunately, there was a message that circulated in social media late last week and right over the weekend as to who some of the conspirators might be, that some of the stopover points may very well be positions or locations where you have informers for the bandits to say, oh, listen, there's a potential vehicle that is coming, these persons probably look well off, and then they might strike. If you recall the death of the former commissioner from Katsina, I mean, there was no attempt whatsoever to flag them down. There was no obstacle on the road. Just as a vehicle approached the point where the bandits were, and they, of course, the victims didn't know this, the assailants just opened fire on them, unfortunately. So that's the editorial, and that wraps up our newspaper review segment for this morning. Let's take a short break now. When we return, we're looking at N-Power, its successes and challenges.
Now, for a peep into the topic of our discussion this morning, here is correspondent Mitaire Ekman with a background report on the N-Power program.
To address growing youth unemployment in the country and eradicate poverty, especially at the grassroots, the Buhari administration rolled out a number of social investment programs aimed at creating wealth and job opportunities. The N-Power program, one of several social intervention programs, was initiated by the federal government in 2016 as a 2-year paid volunteering program to provide young graduates and non-graduates with relevant skills, work tools, and experience to enable them transit from job seekers to job creators. Targeting mostly unemployed graduates between the ages of 18 and 35, the N-Power program was designed in several components such as N-Power Teachers Core Program, N-Power Agro Program, N-Power Health Program, N-Power Creative Program, N-Power Tech Program, among others. 500,000 beneficiaries were to be deployed to the rural communities as volunteers in various economic sectors, receiving a monthly stipend of 30,000 naira. The projection in the long run was to build a new crop of skilled and highly competent service professionals, technicians, and artisans. 2 years down the road, the N-Power has recorded significant successes with youths across the country participating. It has established 250 centers nationwide under its N-Build platform for technical learning and business training of Nigerian youths in the ICT and artisanal industries, most of who are now ready to set up their own businesses. It has also provided financial inclusion for over 45,000 Nigerians, mostly in rural environments, who were previously not exposed to banking. The N-Power program, however, was not without challenges, ranging from difficulty in accessing the online portal to the challenge of providing gainful employment for beneficiaries, poor management of the scheme in some states where beneficiaries are being owed, and the waiting game for 300,000 unemployed graduates who could not make the first phase as targeted. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will be looking at the program to assess its prospects and challenges.
All right, thank you very much, Mitari Ikwe, for that background report. Joining us in the studios now to discuss this topic in greater detail is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation and Youth Empowerment, Afolabi Ibokwade. Thanks a lot for being on Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning.
All right. Also, here with us in the studios, we have two beneficiaries of the NPower program. First, we'd like to welcome Anne Abi Agochi. She's a health educator. Anne, pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
And here as well is a teacher who is also a participant in the NPower program. His name is, wait for this, Buhari Yahaya.
Thank you very much. Good morning,
I'm sure that your friends call you president.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's join. We have other guests from...
Yes, and in Enugu, we have Okodili Valentine Ilu, an Agric Extension Officer. We're glad to have you join us on Good Morning Nigeria today. Good morning, Nigeria today.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let's begin the conversation straight away. It's Afolabi Ibokwade. We've had you on Good Morning Nigeria in the past, and the program has been running for a while now. Give us an assessment of what the program has achieved and what it has also faced in terms of challenges.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I'm glad that the report update you have gives a bit of a background on the program. We all know that the Social Investment Program is one program that is very dear to the heart of Mr. President and his Vice, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And this was a program that was rolled out to immediately directly impact into the lives of ordinary Nigerians. Really, this is one program that has been assessed across, across various cadres, across various sectors as one program that was very transparent. People did not have to know anyone. You just needed to be able to access the portal, follow the instructions, and you got into the program. And I'm sure Anne and Buhari will testify to that when you ask them. But above all, I think what is also important is we're also seeing the impact in the communities where they serve and also in their own lives. Just to speak to a few of the challenges that was reported. So I'm happy to say now that the 300,000 for the 2017 batch to make up the 500,000 that was promised are actually live now. They were formally engaged in the month of August. We had onboarded them onto the online portal since May, but then we were only able to get them to be fully engaged from August 1st. So at about July 20th, thereabout, we had sent their names to the various states and LGAs and states. So they started the process of deploying, and I know that states are concluding deployment now because August 1st was actually their takeoff. So that means that from end of this month, they can begin to earn. Another thing that had been reported about the application challenges which we had in the early stages, well, the reality is that was a challenge in the 2016 batch, which we still surmounted. That's why we have them in the room. In 2017 batch, it really was not a challenge because we had 2.5 million applications. And after all the vetting and cleanup and validations, which we had to do for payment validations to ensure that a lot of the payment challenges we had in the first batch, which was due to non-matching details. So this time around, we pre-validated them, their BVN, their payment account details to the details they've given us, their name, account details, bank information. So meaning, therefore, that we had 1.8 million qualified that were pre-validated. And so the struggle was to pick 300,000 out of 1.8 million. So if there was really an application challenge, I mean, we wouldn't have had that numbers. I think we also surmounted that. So I think I will stop there for now and then we'll take on the conversation. Yeah.
All right, considering the large number of unemployed people in Nigeria today, how are you able to deal with those who are not IT compliant in terms of accessing this program?
Okay, so let me mention that Social Investment Program covers all the demographies. That's the National Social Investment Program itself. So you know, for the vulnerable poor, bottom of the pyramid poor, we have the conditional cash transfer, which deals with households. You know that we have the Government Enterprise Empowerment Program, GEEP, which gives market loans and to market to main traders, you know, up to from 20,000 up to 100,000. And I know in this month we'll be launching the trader money that actually now caters to those who are really small. In fact, maybe you call them mini, maybe less than micro, you know, small business, those who do small petty traders, you know, that their whole inventory may not be more than 2,000-3,000, those who do Boli, the Mishai seller and things like that. We're launching trader money for them in this month. And we have the homegrown school feeding that not only caters for our kids in primary 1 to 3 with the food we feed them, but the rural farmers benefit because they grow the food and the rural community women cook the food. So we have that. And even in the Empower program, it has both the graduate component and the non-graduate component. So when you speak about unemployment numbers, let's realize that unemployment numbers is not only about graduate unemployment. There's also non-graduate unemployment. Once you are above 16 or 18, you are in the labor market. So really those are all the people that make up those numbers. So the Empower program has all sides. The graduate program, which is what they represent, Ann and Co., that had a target of 500,000, which is a huge number. Then you have the non-graduate component, where we really deal with skills for competencies for specific industries. And the video we watched earlier, the coverage we watched earlier, showed the vocational component, the vocational component of it, where we train for construction, we train for the construction industry, we train for the automobile industry, and this year we'll also be training for the hospitality industry. Aside from that, we then have the technology component, where you have hardware repair and maintenance training. You also have training for software and software development, and you then have training for creative animators, graphics, illustrators, and what have you. So you find out that every part of the demography, be it graduate or non-graduate, are all captured in the Empower program.
So, in that sense,
and those, just important to know that the numbers we train there are aside from the 500,000. So for the build, we've trained 20,000 out of our 2017 appropriation. So we're expecting to train another once we start implementing the 2018 appropriation. And for the software and the technology, we have about 13,000 additional Nigerian youths, you know, that would be trained across Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Falabi, let's get a clearer picture of what the Empower program really deals with in terms of crunching the numbers. For the graduate, if you like, temporary employment scheme, it is 500,000 that you're dealing with. You said right now that you have in your books 500,000 who have been engaged, or who are to be engaged.
Fully
okay,
engaged.
that's fine. The other leg of it has to do with the skills sector. Where you have the artisans, you know, where perhaps welders. That has to do with training, I believe. So what are the numbers, and then how long is the training program? And who organizes the training?
Okay, thank you very much. So with the Graduate Empower program, we have 500,000 now, initially 200,000, where they earn 30,000 monthly. That's an approximately 6 billion every month. That has been a direct investment in the lives of our youths since December 2016. And then and now with the 300,000 that have come on board from August 1, it means that in the month of August, by the end of the month of August, we'll actually be talking about 15 billion for that, you know, additional 15 billion, additional 9 billion plus 6, making 15 billion for that number on a monthly basis. Now, for the non-graduate program, where you do the skills competency training, it's really about reviving apprenticeship. So what we do is that it's a 1-year program, 3 months in-center training. So what's just like was aired earlier, we had accredited about 250 centers, or we approved about 250 centers, because we don't have power to accredit. We approved based on various accreditations of the National Board for Technical Education. So we're using centers, some are government technical colleges, some are the NDE centers, some are the Federal Ministry of Labor centers, you know, all the gamut of technical vocational training centers across the country. So we have 250 in our pipeline. So we assign these trainees, or we deploy these trainees to these centers where they learn the various vocations for 3 months in center. Then post that, they then go for a 9 months apprenticeship. So for the M-Build, the first batch of the M-Build that we rolled out, they started their in-center training March 1, and they ended that May 31st. And right now, as we speak, they are now doing their apprenticeship, which will run for 9 months. Now, throughout that 12 months period, they would get, yes, a transport subsidy of 10,000 naira throughout the 12 months period. But above all, they also get what you call the starter pack, the exit starter pack. So it was given to them in advance. So it was first their training tool whilst they were in center, because we also provided the training consumables to each of these centers. We provided each of the trainees training manual, the training manual that was used, the logbook that was used for the assessment and what have you, and obviously paid the centers on behalf of the trainees. So whilst it is free to the trainee, it's actually an investment of about 250,000 per head from the federal government for each trainee.
Well, tell us something more about the criteria for the selection of those who are in the skills and competencies program. Age requirement, for instance, basic education that you need to have.
So basically everything in Empower is between the ages of 18 to 35. Whether you're in graduate component or non-graduate component, is directed specifically at the youth. However, in the graduate component, what you must be a post-NYSC. The only exception to that is if you're in the OND program, which we know we primarily need in a lot of our primary schools, NCE ONDs. So when you're in the main Empower program, those are the only ones exempted from the NYSC discharge. But other than that, you must be a post-NYSC graduate. For the non-graduate program, we call it non-graduate because with the minimum education requirement is your senior secondary school certificate. So you can actually, as a matter of fact, statistics have it that we had about 55–60% graduates even in the non-graduate program, because for them it was not a course of choice. They wanted to learn a skill. They wanted to gain competence in specific skills. So there's no discrimination against graduate coming in, but we just say that the minimum entry is your senior school certificate.
Now, from what you've said so far, this is a capital-intensive project. How strong is your monitoring mechanism to ensure that this program does not go the way of previous initiatives?
Yes. So first and foremost, let me answer that question by also speaking to some challenges you hear. So when you hear, for example, oh, we have not been paid, we've been in the program, we've not been paid, there are a few steps for you being paid. The first is the ensuring that we're able to validate that we're paying the right person. Hence, each person goes through the validation we do with the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Scheme NIBS. Since they're the custodian of the BVNs and since their payment account information, they validate all the payment details. So that's one validation. The next thing is, especially, we then have all our state partners work with us to monitor, because let's recall that we deploy them per local government. So the way it works, if I use the teach, for example, the SUBEB in the state oversights all the public primary and junior secondary schools, where most of them are deployed anyways. And the way SUBEB then works in every state is they have local government education secretary in every local government. So what it means is when I have X number of volunteers, 100 volunteers in this primary school, it is the head teacher in that primary school that takes the attendance. And so what it is that it is expected. We expect that you will work. So what they send us every month is what is called exception report. Those who now did not show up, or what they call list of absentees. So we get that monthly from the states. And once we get it, we immediately put them on what is called payment hold. So that means that they will not, so they're on payment hold for 45 days. What we mean by that is we expect that once you then realize you have been reported, and obviously your money is now on hold, you will then go and regularize yourself. The only way you can get back into the program, because after 45 days, we then exit you from the program. The only way you can be reinstated, and you will not get any backlog because that was a suspension period, is for you to obviously have done an apology letter, and the head of the institution will then write an attestation to say, yes, he or she is now remote. And
up until a few months ago, not all the states of the Federation were involved in the school feeding program, because the states needed to meet certain criteria.
Yes.
For the Empower program, is this countrywide in terms of participation and engagement?
Yes, full countrywide across all local governments, across all states. Yes.
Including areas impacted by insecurity?
Oh, yes.
All right, so thanks. Let's pause you in the meantime and bring in the other guests who have been listening to this. Anne Agochi, she's a health educator and a participant in the NPower program. Give us your experience with regard to the NPower program. What do you do as a health educator, and why did you decide to get into it?
I decided to get into the health area because I love to help, and in the health sector we help in the sense that in my unit where I was posted to at the Kuje Primary Health Center, we help in keeping the child's record, child monitoring and growth of the child that comes to the hospital, and this is done daily, on a daily basis. Anytime the child is brought to the hospital for immunization, we help the nurses there to keep the record of the child.
Let's talk about the kind of training you got before this deployment. What kind of training did you get to help in the health sector?
We got the training in monitoring and record and monitoring from the health center which we were posted. We were trained on how to keep record when we were posted to the health center.
And for how long did this training last?
They do it in session by session. Like in 3 months, we were trained. After 3 months, we were also trained too. So we were trained twice during the program.
So right now you're on the field, you're doing something.
Yes.
And how is that for you? Are you fulfilled? Do you like what you're doing?
Yes, very well.
And how receptive are the people in the community where they send you to?
It's very okay, because we were different sets of people who were posted there. Like the usual people they normally have there. We're young, we are youths, we are young, and then we know how to relate with them better than the rest of the people that they know there before.
So how many of you did they post to where you are now, who also trained in the same field as you?
We were about 19 or so.
What are your hours of work?
We work from 8 to 4 p.m.
And apparently what you're describing is that you are a data collector. You capture the data of children and babies who come
at the immunization unit.
At the immunization unit.
Yes.
So what is this data? Is it analog or is it digital data that you are capturing? What kind of facilities do you have to do your work?
We do manually and then digital.
All right, let's pause you and then bring in the teacher who is involved in this right here with us, Buhari Yahaya. Buhari, tell us your experience as well.
All right. Good morning, sir. It was a great challenge. Actually, I was very encouraged. But along the line, when I started, I felt, can I be able to do this? How long can I do this? But along the line, I was encouraged, so it was a great challenge to me.
So what were you doing before you enrolled for this program?
Actually, when I graduated from school, I couldn't have anything doing at hand, but I was helping my family at home in 1 or 2 ways, most especially in the farming aspect. But when I was enrolled in the program, I was happy about that.
What did you study?
I studied business administration.
When did you graduate?
I graduated 2016.
So what are you doing now in the NTeach segment of the NPower program?
Actually, I'm teaching now.
What are you teaching?
Business studies.
Which school is this?
In Gaube, GSS Gaube.
Come again?
GSS Gaube in Kujeria Council.
And how receptive are your students to your work?
It is a welcoming development to them. They were happy that they've gotten a new teacher who is actually helping them in the areas of business studies.
So would you say this program is a good development at this stage in our history in Nigeria?
Actually, it is. It's a very encouraging development, and we would love to see it go further.
What are the challenges you faced in the process of training before you moved to the school to teach?
The challenges I faced was that when I stand in front of the classes, I look at the student will just look at me. So I felt, can I do this? But along the line, I picked the courage and said, yes, I can do this. Actually, when I was serving, I was teaching actually. So I said, this is not different from this. They're all the same. So what will be a problem? So that was how I pick up.
I was just wondering, you know, Buhari, did you imagine you were going to be a teacher sometime in the future?
Never. I don't imagine that at all. But now I am a teacher now.
You like it?
Yes, actually I like it.
And you enjoy it?
Very well.
And your stature isn't something that your pupils or your students would take advantage of?
Well,
you look, you're a very big man. The camera is not showing.
Well, sometimes, you know, the students, they love giving their teachers nickname. Yeah. So sometimes when they see me based on my stature, they will say, that short uncle is coming.
All right, they will say that to your hearing. But no. Back to you. I mean, what's your background? What did you study? And
I studied BSc in Mass Communication.
So you have a BSc in Mass Communication?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And now you're in the health sector. How is that for you? A shift from mass communication to the health?
It's not different from what we usually do in school, because we also do health communication. It's part of the courses we've offered in the university. So it wasn't difficult for me to key into the health sector.
Do you find this sufficiently challenging? I mean, just merely taking, that's a clerical, it looks like a clerical function. A baby comes, you put the baby on a scale. I hope they have a scale there. Yes, and then you have a height meter, you put that. That's a clerical function. Anybody can do that. Do you find that sufficiently stimulating for your brain?
No, sir.
So okay, let me go this way, because I also, I did something similar in the university. It's called Theater for Development, and you know, that gives you access to the people at the grassroots. Now, do you take advantage of what you studied as a mass communicator to also use that opportunity to reach out to people at the grassroots? That's like adding more, you know, adding more value to what you learned in the university. Are you doing that?
Yes, because from time to time, I try to look at issues that borders women and children generally that we wouldn't have talked about. I go to the internet, I make research, and then I talk to people about it in my clinic.
That's interesting.
All right, thanks a lot. And let's go over now to our Enugu Network Center, where we are introduced Okudile Valentine Ilo. Okudile, of course, you've listened to your fellow Power participants, you know, give us their experience. You should also tell us something about yourself. How did you get into the N-Power program, and what are you doing now?
Thank you very much. I left school 2011, and after my National Youth Service, I couldn't get a job for 4 years. And about 2016, when I heard about this program online, I actually registered for it. And we had options of you choosing whether to be under N-Agro category, or N-Teach, or N-Health. Because I studied cooperatives and rural development, I decided to go into N-Agro. And 1 year, 8 months down the line, I can actually beat my chest and say, yes, I am a fulfilled person. Because 4 years, there was no job. And the government of Muhammadu Buhari gave me the opportunity to be employed. And within these 4 years, I have actually made good impact into the lives of my community. By one, I created a cooperative within the farmers. Because for you to get loan, you need to be in a cooperative, of which I also included myself as one of the members of that cooperative. I've also, within this period, have a demonstration plot, management training plots, where I demonstrate new technology and techniques in agriculture. Before we actually went into the program, there was a 3 weeks intensive training on different crops and other plants that was given to us. Then after which we were asked to go into action. And subsequently, every fortnight, we have what we call fortnight meetings, FNT, at the local government level, where the zonal manager under ADP, Agricultural Development Program, takes us through so many developments and new techniques that comes into go to the community and impact the farmers. And this is what we've been doing for the past 1 year and 8 months. This program has been on.
Okudile, it's nice to hear all that coming from you. Would you say the kind of training you got before you started your work is intensive and it's actually helping you carry out your assignment appropriately?
Okay, there was a training on agric, different crops, what to expect to the farm, how to talk to the farmers, and how to report issues. Because as an agricultural extension officer, I am meant to directly work and hear from the farmers in terms of problems and the rest of them. So a lot of crops were introduced, maize and the measurements, yam miniscent and the rest of them, tomatoes, so many crops we were putting through during that period on how to plant it, cassava, and new technologies in cassava, like the provitamin A and the sweet potato, provitamin A sweet potato, which is actually good presently. So these are some of the things we were taught within that period and meant to impact that into the farmers, of which it is a great success.
How many of you were involved in your particular training?
All N-Power and Agro beneficiaries here in Enugu State, in the different local governments, were involved in that training.
What has been your experience as an agric extension officer interacting with farmers?
Okay. At the initial stage, we had issues of penetrating into the communities. Well, we came into the community where we were posted and introduced ourselves as agric extension officers posted to those communities. Actually, they are kind of shown some rejections in the sense that they said each time they keep saying government officials coming closer to them, telling them one thing about agriculture. At the end of the day, they don't see them come back. So, but we were able to convince them that ours was a different thing. Ours was to make them, the products yield very well. Then we had to also meet the traditional rulers who actually organize the communities. And also, most times, we visit churches on Sundays to talk to them in their churches with the help of the priest or reverend there. So that was exactly how we were able to talk to them. And each time we now come to impart knowledge to them, they will listen to us.
Well, you talked earlier about improved varieties of various crops that you are introducing to these farmers, as well as improved technology. Who are the suppliers of these improved seedlings and demo technology?
Okay, we get that from the Agricultural Development Program under the Ministry of Agriculture here in Enugu. So these varieties comes to us, we introduce them to the farmers, and in our management training plots, we demonstrate it there. Each time there is need to revisit it, we revisit them and tell them this is exactly what they need to do and replicate same in their own farm. And to tell you, it has been a great success.
What is your scope of coverage? How many communities do you cover? And as you are on this program, do you have regular interaction with, you talked about the state ADP, with officials from the State Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, who previously acted as agric extension officers? So first, what is your scope of coverage? How many communities do you cover? And how do you visit these communities? Who pays for your logistics?
Okay. I am meant to cover 2 communities, Uhuezenenwe and Amoji. And in Amoji, we have 6 villages in Amoji. And in Uhuezenenwe, I have 7 villages in Uhuezenenwe. Then I have a timetable, days I visit each community. Then because of these communities are so large, What I do is that every day, I try to visit at least 2 communities, visit the management training plot, do my required demonstration with the available farmers. Most times we do visit them at their farms. Then talks about logistics. It is still from our stipends that we do this. Nobody pays us. Every day I leave Enugu to Ogu local government or Aneru local government, depending, to do these demonstrations. So all these things comes from the stipends we get from the federal government. So nobody sponsors it. In most times, we had to provide some seedlings, some inputs in order to do or demonstrate. We do that as a collective most times when it is too large, and agro beneficiaries within that community. Just like I said, I'm covering Uwezene and Amoji. There are other communities around that other beneficiaries are actually taking care of. So when the project is so large, we come together as one body, as a block, then try to carry out such projects, contribute within ourselves.
Right, Okudule, thanks. We're going to pause here in the meantime. It's not the new yam season already, is it? In Ogu area, is it? Is the new yam out?
I didn't get that.
New Yam, you know, that's the New Yam Festival is a big ceremony in the southeast. It's not the New Yam season yet, is it? Not the New Yam season yet, is it?
Not. It's towards October, November.
Right, so wish you and your farmers, co-farmers, heavy and a healthy bumper harvest.
Obviously,
all right.
they're doing very well.
Yeah, they're doing very well. The agro, this is one of the issues that in discussing agri matters on Good Morning Nigeria, there was always that lacuna in terms of manpower shortages. Various state ministries of agriculture had virtually neglected the agri extension program, extension services that ordinarily they would, take to the farmers in sometimes, hard to reach, even not so difficult to reach locations. So this would appear to be a stopgap measure, and that's what I was asking. But the aspect that he hasn't responded to is the frequency of interaction and whether now the state Agric ministry officials are merely sitting back and saying, look, since these are federal government people, let them go on. That's my question is going to Afolabi Imokwede. Who bears the cost of all of this?
So let me say, so again, you're right. One of the things about, so of the 200,000, 30,000 of them are in the Agric extension of the first batch. In this second batch of 300,000, we have 100,000 of them that would actually be towards the agric extension. And that was clearly to plug the gap that you've spoken about. Now, what you find is that the dynamics are different from state to state. It's really it depends on how much of a focus the state places on agriculture. In a state like Delta, for example, they are very active with our volunteers on the field. As a matter of fact, one of the things Okudili said, which is really about they are coming together to form cooperatives. That's also something to answer your question about interaction. That's how they've built this very effective interaction. So they form cooperatives with the farmers. Sometimes they form their own and also cluster the local farmers. Sometimes I've seen in Taraba, when during my monitoring, they actually have together. So the volunteers and the rural farmers are together in cooperatives, and with that they're able to get the seedlings coming back again to a state like Delta, Taraba, a few states. They actually give them those seedlings that they then use for the program. I know even in Delta they actually they've actually given them microcredit. Some of the and we have products that have been showcased to us, finished products, processing products, smoked fish processing, and whatever that these cooperatives have actually done and created a commercial line out of it. So it's really, the short answer to your question is really dependent on how effective some of our states are. But what I've found with our volunteers is beyond where, so you heard him, where nobody's giving him, they are like, hey, because we have a commercial interest in this. In fact, a whole lot of them, and if you ask them, they tell you most of them in teach health, their investment is also in the agric area. So that's where they all put their investment in. Because one thing I must mention about Empower is there is a learn, work, and entrepreneurship component. They will say to you that the way we advise them on a monthly basis is that you need to count backwards. It's got a terminal date. So your investment, what you make now, you must look at it, you know, and how can it begin to yield for you. So because of that, a lot of them actually have made investments in agri, and so most of them form all these cooperatives, and their colleagues in the agro extension are like their overseers and the custodians of the project. So they have something in it. Even when there is a gap, they quickly rise up to fill those gaps.
Once again, what's the duration of the temporary employment?
So it's 24 months. It's a revolving 24 months for each batch, yes.
All right. Let's, of course, pause for now and take a short break. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. All right, you're welcome back. And still Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We have another guest who is joining this conversation now on the Empower program, its achievements and challenges. And he is Obinaya Uruakwa, is an entrepreneur and personal development trainer. Mr. Uruakwa, pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Always my pleasure, sir.
All right. We know you've been keeping track of the Empower program. What is your assessment so far?
Excellent. My mentor time from 1960. We've had different ruling plans, we've had different ideas. My challenge has always been implementation. If you look at a country like the United States of America, you have over 4,850 mentorship hubs. What does that tell you? America produces the greatest number of millionaires per year. What you have is a situation where those who have achieved in the entrepreneurial world get to mentor others who look forward to aspiring to become entrepreneurs. And they now get to implement what they've learned in the communities where they've been attached. If you look at the Empower program, you've had different segments: Empower Agriculture, teachers, and a host of other things. Now, the whole idea, from my own perspective as a private sector operator, is that these chaps get to get some stipend and then get to be focused on creating local economic development. And then they get to now reach out to others like them. It becomes a peer mentorship arrangement where they get others to begin to focus not just on jobs, but on entrepreneurship. And then over time, they get to stand on their feet and begin to now contribute to national development. Now, the jury is still out over the percentage score for the Empower project. But mine is that I have never thrown the baby away with the bathwater. Mine is that since it's been put on the ground, what's the handshake, the engagement between the private sector and the government with regard to the Empower? Is it possible that someone like me and a few of my colleagues who have been through 1 or 2 entrepreneurial schools are engaged and discussed with to say, okay, what's your perspective to this? Because like the blind man, the elephant and the 12 blind men, everybody has his own perspective to things. Nigeria belongs to us, and the question of us joining forces to take Nigeria out of the woods. 2 months ago, the head of the National Population Commission reported that Nigeria is now 198 million. What does that tell you? I had a meeting on Saturday with some Hong Kong investors and then some chaps from China. And you know what they're looking out for? With the trade war between America and China, a big market has opened up in Asia, where lobsters in America now have 25% tariff before they get into China. So do we begin to tell our young people that the 30,000 you've collected, or whatever sum you've collected, and there are 10 of you in a local government area, 30,000 times 10 people, what does that tell you? That's a huge capital. Have we told them to form a cooperative society? Have we told them to engage with the Nigerian Cooperative Federation? Now, there are over 80,000 civil servants at the federal level. I'm not even talking about the state level. I'm not talking about the local government level. Have we told them that in a recession-prone economy that we've managed to pull out recently, that food, health, and education are areas you can quickly touch and they become low-hanging fruit? There are a lot of things we need to look at. Can we look at our history to find out that as late as 1970s to 75, Nigeria was number 3 in cotton in the whole of Africa. But today we're still number 1 in yam, in cassava, and so on. Where are the markets for these things?
All right. Let's bring in again the beneficiaries. Anne Agochi and Buhari Yahaya. When Afolabi Bakwede was talking earlier, he was talking about investment, that you have to know that there is a terminal date for your exit. In other words, a 24-month program, and you've been encouraged to also invest. What is it that you're doing in the course of the program? When is your exit date? What is it you're doing? What is it you've been able to achieve? What would you like to do before the end?
Okay. When I graduated, I finished my service in 2015. I was at home. I wasn't doing anything. When I heard about the program, I said, okay, let me just try. When they sent me a test to come for verification, I was, what is this verification all about? Let me just go and see what is there. Then I went. We did the verification. I was at home in December. I was lying down in the evening around 8 p.m. with my mom, my sisters. A text message entered my phone. I didn't read it immediately. I waited for some time. When I read through it, I started shouting. I was jumping. I was shouting, alert, alert, alert. I was like, close your mouth before armed robbers will come and rob us in this house. Alert from where? I said, empower. Empower. So this thing is real, is real, is real. Then when the money was coming, I would withdraw some money, go and buy shoes, I buy clothes and do that. At the time, I was like, how am I even using this money? At the end of this program, what do I tend to achieve? Then I said, okay, if I start a business now, the economy is not so good. People will owe me and they won't pay. Let me think of what else to do. Then I went and got my master's fund. I've been paying my fees without asking anybody for money. Every money I get, okay, how I did it was that I called like 8 of my friends. Can we contribute 10,000 naira every month? At the end of a month, this person takes. At the end of the month, this person takes. We all agreed. 8 of us. I got 80,000 naira. That was how I was able to pay my fees, and by December this year, I'm going to be done with my master's program.
And what do you intend to do after that? After the master's program, what do you intend to do?
Okay, I like education. I like to go to school. After my master's program, I still want to do my professional program with NIPR. Then after that, during that, I will still apply for other jobs too, and then doing my job and be, I'll still do my job and then continue with my education.
Right. Let's bring in Buhari at this stage. Buhari, you listen to her. She has her own plan lined up. What is your own plan? Do you intend to continue teaching in the secondary school, or what do you intend to do?
Very well. The economy is is at a great challenge now. I would love to remain in the teaching aspect, and in as much as there's no job for us at hand now. I thought of, was this a real aspect or it was just like a joke? But when the money came in, I had 2 separate accounts, so I divided the money into 2 half parts. One is for my personal spending, while the other one is for my investment. Actually, now I can beat my chest. I have something at hand that, at the end of the day, I can count on.
Well, what are your other friends, assuming you have any who are on the Empower program, what are they telling you about their experiences?
Actually, some of them were like the device they gave them was faulty. Some of them could not be able to fix some of the devices. And
what is a device?
The device?
Yeah, what is it? What kind of device are you talking about?
We are talking about the one they gave us from the Empower.
What are they?
What are the devices?
We have
a device,
iPad,
a smartphone.
Yes, it was iPad, Techno, Samsung, and the rest like that.
For what?
For helping us in 1 or 2 aspects. Like we, the end teacher now. When we get this device, we'll go through it, then we'll browse more on what to impact to the student. So these are what we do with the devices.
Also, the devices, there have been, there are applications, there are modules for the NTech. There are modules that have been downloaded into the device that will help you in carrying out your daily activity, like us, the N Health, sorry, we have activities, everything we need to do, materials that have been downloaded into the device. And the device, there are Samsung Tab and Techno and other devices. That's everything you need to know about the Empower. We also have interview, daily tests, a lot of materials that have already been downloaded into the device that will help you in your daily activities.
It has internet capability?
Yes, we have every month you are giving internet every month to access in case when you have difficulties in understanding the materials that have already been downloaded into the device, you can use the internet to do further research on anything you need to know.
Yeah, Buhari, we're talking about some of the challenges that your colleagues are facing with regard to the manipulation or workability of the device. Yes, so how are they able to resolve this?
Some of them took it to their repair technicians for repair. Why some? Actually, some were even complaining that they've not gotten their devices. But I think it was just a few number of people that were complaining about that. Why majority of which have gotten their devices. So,
okay. All right, Kingsley, I think we should bring back Obi Naya into this conversation. I would like you to go to the crux of our discussion this morning, the Empower program. Would you say this program has made the necessary impact so far?
I believe yes. In the sense that just listening to the testimonies of the two young people, from my background as an entrepreneur and as a graduate of a business school, I'll tell you that all you need to set up is a system, and you can start building on that system. If they have devices that opens them to the world, it opens them up to limitless possibilities. Now, if the young man is telling you that in that device, he has models that would help him transfer knowledge to people in the community, you can never tell how far that will go. I've understood it from the Singaporean model, where all they did was to get a few young people, sent them out to study the blueprints of the world and bring it back to Singapore. And today, that landlocked nation is doing a whole lot. I'll give you the example of Uber. Uber does not own a taxi, but with the technology that Uber has, Uber can use your car to create wealth. It's called OPM, or other people's money, OPR, other people's resources. So what they've been given is a tool. And I beg to differ, to put the young man on the spot. He said, a little stipend. What is little? 5,000 to a woman at the street junction in my village is a whole lot. And if you go back to Smedan, and I'm linking it up because the challenge we've had in Nigeria is inability to do a synergy of the over 718 MDAs in Nigeria and see where some of these MDAs and states and local government areas could join forces with the federal government and devolve some of these ideas and the resources we have so that everybody's life is touched. So he can't say little, and I'm saying this with all sense of respect, not running him down, because the 5,000, and like the young lady said, could now be 5,000 in 100 places with people who have 5,000.
Yeah,
and with the OLOP
document, 30,000.
Excellent. I'm being modest. Leave the 30,000. Let's deal with 5,000. But look at what she said. I had mentioned 10,000, and incidentally, she also mentioned 10,000. Now, not just for Isusu, which is beautiful, but Smedan has what we call OLOP. One local government, one product. I repeat myself, OLOP, one local government, one product. Several years ago, the Dupe Adelaja and crew in Smedan had visited Japan, where in every prefecture in Japan, at least one product is produced. If Empower has put in place a structure where we have young people in every community in Nigeria, teaching people, doing health, doing different things, is it not possible that we now leverage that to now say, okay, the people who are in Aba can now go to the textile people and get those boys who can make the kind of cloth I'm wearing or do the kind of shoe that I'm putting on. And now link up with the guys in Sokoto and say, guys, can I have the onions in Sokoto? Just put it in one transport company in collaboration with NURTW. Just let's deal with food alone. Go beyond food, look at fashion. The other one is look at makeup. You don't limit yourself to just the end health or limit yourself to just the end teaching. I'll say this and I'll keep quiet. In every developing economy, I was taught Everyone needs at least 7 streams of income to survive. What I have discovered from what Imokwede and Kriya are doing with these young people, we're giving them the models and giving them the test questions, which can also be added to, is the fact that they're working on their mindset. To understand that you need to be a wealth creator, what the colonial masters did to us is going to take us time to do, but I like what is going on now. You need to clean their mindset to understand that job is just over broke, and this government cannot give all the jobs that we want. We need young people like Mark Zuckerberg of this world, we need Strev Messiawas, and we need the Dangotes, and these young people are the ones that will take us there. I'm already 47. I doubt that my generation is the one that will save Nigeria. These young people are the ones we're looking up to.
All right, Obinaya, thank you very much. Don't be so despondent. You're 47, you haven't reached 50 yet.
That's right.
I remember many years ago, you know, he was a very prominent Nigerian who referred to his generation as the fifth generation. He's still alive, the gentleman who made that statement. Then some of us are also saying, listen, things have gotten a bit more challenging than they ever were in the past. But as you rightly said, you know, there are new vistas opening up for the beneficiaries of the M program. There are reactions also that have come in from our viewers who have sent in their tweets. We'll go through those tweets now, and then we'll continue with the conversation. Mike Ayankwo, one of our regulars, sent this. So the Empower program is a welcome development. It's a veritable policy that not only creates employment, but also makes hitherto unemployed now partake in creating jobs. Unfortunately, this laudable objective has many issues like lack of access by the rural populace. Imokwede will respond to that. Lack of access by the rural populace. Is it in terms of becoming an enrollee as an Empower participant, or in terms of the benefits? If it's in terms of the benefits, Okudule is dealing with farmers, and those are rural people. All right, George.
Let's take the next one from Dele Jack Solomon Medj. He tweets, politics aside, despite the challenges faced by many beneficiaries, the Buhari-led administration should be commended for the introduction of the social welfare scheme. The program should be sustained, while all challenges like portal inaccessibility and BVN should be effectively addressed.
Shakiro. Empower program is another excellent way of providing employment for the unemployed, but it should cut across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. This will serve the government's efforts of goodwill.
Akins Dada tweets, the program is basically an emergency response to the social-economic issue of the nation. Required a robust, comprehensive approach to educating, training, employable workforce, elementary through tertiary level, with quality assurance for national development.
Shale Michael Omakoje. To start home business. Some of them, you already explained, have their startup packs, but they will speak more to that. Or they are not engaged by the federal government to various MDAs. It's not for the federal government to provide them jobs. Then it's a wasted effort for both the government and the beneficiaries. Engage them, he writes.
That's right. And coming from Festus Akimboyewa, my nephew has just been selected for the next phase of Empower, and from his reaction, there's no doubt that the scheme is transforming lives despite its challenges. Government must ensure that the scheme is not abused. We'll come to that later on in our conversation. And volunteers must work and not see their stipends as free bills.
Lawal Kayode Ismail. Why, again, this is a question directed to Imokwede. Why should Empower exclude people based on age? No opportunity when they were younger. They are now overaged when opportunity comes. Is Nigerian government for certain age groups? Empower should accommodate all unemployed, irrespective of age.
The next one is coming from Excellency. And it says, please, the SSA, I guess is referring to you, should talk on NTAC scheme. I believe it is one of the schemes. But when you report any issue about the scheme, you will be told to contact VADES. Some are being owed up to 3 to 6 months. And now VADES has ended. What is our fate? Please, NTACs should be properly addressed.
Nsima Splendid. Kudos to the Buhari administration for such a wonderful program. I must say I'm a proud beneficiary of the Empower program.
And this one is coming from Ibrahim Tudun. Many employed graduates are gainfully employed in state and federal service, but enrolled by the NPAR. Government has not done enough due diligence. An overhaul is required to make the system more credible.
Well, that would be a criminal offense. If you, that would be an offense. I'm not sure whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. If you're already employed in the federal service or state service and you are still benefiting from that, it cannot be a double take. All right, Amechi, it could actually lead to severe sanctions from the appropriate service commission. Amechi Uche, but I would like Mokwada to also note this. Amechi Uche, it's pleasing to know that there can be some transparency in employment in Nigeria with respect to NPAR recruitment. But please, I want you to look into the monthly allowance of 2017 beneficiaries under VATES Stream 23. They are yet to be paid since February, and we're already in August.
The next one is from Festus Akimboyewa. NPAR will be more successful if government can ensure the full amount budgeted for the scheme is released. As good as the scheme is, lack of adequate funding can wreck it. Mokwade, we'll take that later.
Adedo tweets. Now, if NPAR beneficiaries are sent back to the streets without permanent jobs or payoff amount, that will be suicide.
And this one is coming from Ibrahim Tudun. In many local government areas, the officials are collecting from 1,000 to 2,000 as ID card and other charges. Such cases have been brought to the attention of NPAR authorities, but nothing has been done about that.
Derek Jinga, what happens to the first batch of NPAR at the end of December when their contract will be over? We wish to be absorbed into the federal government parastatals at any level. This is our earnest prayer.
Change to Progress tweets, it is one of the great things that happened under this administration. I guess is referring to the NPAR program, which has managed the program so effectively that politicians haven't been able to jeopardize the initiative. Engaging 500,000 without crisis in Nigeria looks impossible, but these people have done it. Kudos.
Amechi Uche, it's been a great experience with NPAR. I give kudos to the team and the present administration.
Nsima Splendid Pal tweets, I'm a proud beneficiary of this noble program. The achievements so far outweigh the challenges. Kudos to President Muhammadu Buhari.
All right, Joy, let's allow Afolabi Mokwade to respond to the many queries that have been raised by our viewers. Quite, absolutely, yes. Quite enthusiastic reactions from our viewers who have praised the program, but there are lingering concerns.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I must say thank you to all Nigerians for all your comments, and your critics also help us to do better. First, let me latch on to what Obinaya has said. When we started this program, it was very clear that the NPAR program was a employment enhancement, employability enhancement program. So it was a volunteer program. Another thing we did, just to latch on to what he said, in the countries like America, the volunteerism is something, is an ethos that is very active in the mindset of any youth or any citizen. And so it was very deliberate for us that we wanted to bring that ethos back to our youth. I have found in my own early days and career that volunteerism was actually my first step to a job. And we thought that beyond the whole using the program to correct employability challenges, you know, because in that device that they get, like I said earlier, it's a learn, work, and entrepreneurship. They've got learning materials. Aside from even subject matter that they've all spoken about, you then have a whole ton of personal development materials. Part of it also, we've been privileged to have Cisco, Google, and Microsoft Academy partner with us with all their various certification modules on that device that they all have. And they can take those and actually go and sit for a certification. Now, these are things that people will pay tons of money for, but you have really as an investment on your lap. On those devices as well, everything around job searching, job hunting, everything around digital literacy. You've got a lot of materials that are there to help them. So it's really a lifeline that the president has extended to our youth. They have the work ethics part of it, which is where they must be assigned to a place of primary assignment, is actually where they then get to apply what they're learning continuously. And the last component of Empire then is the entrepreneurship, which, like I said, you start from your day one to your exit. So let me, with that background, let me address a few things. One is, when Mike talks about lack of access, again, I wouldn't understand clearly what he means, because first and foremost, this program is in all local governments in Nigeria, all 774 local governments in Nigeria. And you can't also go more rural than that, and they've all spoken about how they actually engage in local communities. So when Shakiri also spoke about it should be across 6 geopolitical zones, I reckon maybe he's just hearing about the program for the first time today. So it's really across Nigeria. And what have you?
Inaccessibility.
Yeah, okay, is it portal? Well, again, I spoke to that earlier. So those were temporary challenges, and let's understand that any part of the world, once you launch an online program and there's a whole huge traffic, it tends to slow down. But as things simmer, you're able to get in. I mean, there's no way we would have been able to get 2.5 million applications if there was no accessibility. And these applications come from all across the country. I will speak to what next after Empower last, but let me take all the smaller components. Empower exclude based on age? Yes. So perhaps, again, the author of this question did not listen in from the beginning. Empower is not a standalone. It's a component of the National Social Investment Program. And like I explained, the National Social Investment Program is designed that every demography, from a child in the primary school to the rural community to informal market sector, everybody is a beneficiary. So if you've been excluded based on age, I'm sure you are also a trader somewhere that you can benefit from social investment through the Jeep program or the Trader Money program. So that's really what it is. But this Empower component, if he's not a trader and a graduate,
I was young, I didn't have a job.
Okay, so let's also understand that government is not in a silo. And the government will also, the Nigerian government style is also a federation. As we are having interventions at the federal level, state governments are also doing, local governments are doing. So I'm sure if you look inwards, really, just like Mr. Obinaya has been saying, you will find what belongs to you. Then when we speak about those who are employed, okay, I'll come to NTAX in a minute, but those who are employed if you're employed in Empower, so one of the philosophies in Empower, we allow whistleblow, and all our social media channels are publicly known. You can whistleblow. We have whistleblowed. There's been a lot of whistleblow of people who are in one form of civil service or the other that get into the Empower program. We've dismissed and we've recommended for sanctions to the. In fact, I remember the Borno State governor last year when I visited, because he got those reports. He actually asked that a verification must be done, a BVN match must be done to fish out anyone in the government civil service that is in Empower. And they did that. They actually dismissed. Unfortunately, such people missed out both ways. They missed both the government job and missed out on Empower. So
isn't it unfortunate? It's fortunate that
they were
sanctioned.
Exactly. No, fortunate sanctions. Yes. No, I agree. No, but what is unfortunately, the point I was trying to make is from our own end, because we all run Nigeria as a federation, so there's no way we in Abuja will have access to a state data or a state personnel data or civil service data to be able to say we want to run these checks. What we do, however, with Empower is we ensure that no one person is benefiting from multiple components of Empower. So once you are in Teach, like Buhari is, he cannot be in Agro, he cannot be in Empower Build, he cannot be in Empower Tech, or all the other subcomponents of the Empower program. So we do that on our own with NTAX. Let me explain. One of what you would have also noticed, the way the Empower program was designed, it was not just a social investment money for the boys. So yes, I think the contributor who said, please, they must not see it as money for the boys. I'm sure if you ask Anne and every one of them, they hear it from me. It is not, Empire is not money for the boys. It is not free free money by the side. It is money for work done. It is serious business. It is serious investment. That's the message we pass on every day. However, what we must note is we use Empower as well to speak to specific challenges in different sectors. Hence, you have health, agri, and so the same thing happened with the tax component. The VADES program, as you know, initially came on board, the Voluntary Asset Declaration Scheme, and what that needed is that they needed community mobilizers. They needed advocacy or youth that could do advocacy, and that's how the end tax component was created. So now that, yes, VADES as that particular window is closed, it still does not mean end tax has ended, because their original role is CTLOs, Community Tax Liaison Officers. So their advocacy work continues, because you understand that one of the profiles of the FRS and the Joint Tax Board is actually to widen our tax nets, to get more people into the tax bracket. So that's really the work that they do in the community. However, what had happened, just as a lot of comments had come in, Nigerians have celebrated the meritocracy and the transparency of our application process. So the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Joint Tax Board had approached us just at the time that we were opening the portal for 2017 application, that for this program we want youth across country, so can we use the platform to also register people for this program, in as much as we then find value for them, which is why there are CTLOs under end tax. So that's what has happened. Now, for them, they even got deployed way earlier than the 2017 regular graduates of Empire. So the payment, so firstly, we don't, so they monitor that directly in the Federal Ministry of Finance, the VADES team or CTLO team, they do that. Once they send us those that they've deployed, we put them in the Empire system, the payroll, and we process payments. So anyone who is complaining of not being paid now, there are two things that could be the challenge. One is we may not have even gotten that list that these ones have now been deployed. Because if you are out of our radar, there's no way we would be able to see you. But once we get those lists, we put them in the payment scheme, and they get paid. Now, anyone again who also says that he is not being paid, he or she may be in our radar, but the challenge may be this issue of resolving the payment challenges in terms of your matching validation. So it could be one of those two. But let me speak to the last topic about what next after Empower. But before then, please, the contributor talked about extortion at LGA. I've said it consistently, and they will bear me witness. No payment to be made to anybody for any reason. We do not collect money for anything. We don't collect money for ID card. You know, there's nothing. Empire is a free program to you as a beneficiary. So if you actually pay for anyone, I don't know why. You know, once the whistle blow to us, we take action immediately. I know how many people have been sanctioned even at the various state level. However, what I do know that happens, sometimes in the bid of you being guilty because you did not go to work, that's when the extortion happens. So the person has a blackmail on you to say, okay, I'm going to report you, and then sometimes these extortions happen. But for those who are, even that we've heard, and we deal with it as such officers are reported, and the state authorities deal with that. But please, there's no reason for giving any money to anyone. Now, Empower, what happens next after Empower? Again, I latch on to what Obinaya has said. The whole the way the program was designed was really to give the empowerment, individual empowerment, to each and every of our individual beneficiary, so that they really take their future into their hands. With that device that they have, basically the world is open to you. As I mean, you are really raising what we call an army of digital literates who can do a whole lot of things. A lot of them have been able to start, they have become mobile money agents in the rural communities because of this device. A lot of them are earning even what you call passive income because they have been able to do enumerator work, data collection enumerators for different programs across the country. Like you also said, Smidan is already in talks with us too, because these are footprints in every local government. Smidan now has a challenge. They want to verify and really authenticate the MSME database across country. They're in talks with us as we speak to use this network of Empower volunteers, not only to verify or collect those data, but beyond that, to use them also as entrepreneurial advisors, just as Obinaya was saying. beyond that as well, what we have an Empower Next, an exit program, an exit scheme or exit package for them. We just haven't announced it yet, but in a few weeks we will be making that announcement. And those exit packages would involve, you know, things around seed funding for those who have already displayed themselves entrepreneurially. I am aware that a lot of cooperatives have emerged. You know, they are not even just flippant cooperatives. They have registered with their various states controlling agencies. You know, so things from seed funding to you know, things around psychometric testing to be able to enable people. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. That last point there was one of our takeaways. Empower Next. Yes. Right. That's for those who are on the Empower scheme, but it's not necessarily a job so that they don't keep running to you. We'd like to thank all our guests who have participated in the discussion this morning. From our Enugu Network Center, where we are joined by Okudili Valentine Ilo, who is Empower Agro and is engaged in agric extension services. Okudili, thanks a lot for being around today. Here with us in the Abuja studios, 4 guests, Obinaya Uruakba, an entrepreneur and personal development trainer. Thanks a lot for your perspectives on our discussion. And then 2 other beneficiaries of the program, Buhari Yahaya, who is in NTeach. Buhari, thanks a lot. And Anne Abi Agochi, who is in Health. Thanks a lot for being around. And lastly, but not the least, of course, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation and Youth Empowerment, Afolabi Imohwede. Thanks a lot for the Empower analysis and discussion. All right, so let's go over now to our sports segment as the first of our complimentaries.
And on that note, we conclude Good Morning Nigeria today. See you again, same time tomorrow for another interesting edition. Till then, I am Joy Usiago.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I join Joy in appreciating you tuning in today. Do have a lovely day ahead of you.